Welcome to my YouTube channel. In this video, I shall be teaching you on how to draft 6 pieces skirts. We shall be drafting as at the same time sewing. If you have any comment, please kindly comment on the section box. Make sure you subscribe so that you can get more beautiful videos on how to sew. Thank you. The measurement required for this 6 pieces skirt is your waist measurement, which is 36 inches, your hip measurement, which is 44 inches, your waist to hip measurement, which is 9 inches, your waist to crotch depth, which is 11 inches, your waist to knee line, which is 18 inches, your waist to ankle line, which is 39 inches. When making 6 pieces skirt, your waist and your hip measurement, they are divided by 6. So our waist measurement is 36. We divide it by 6, we get 6 plus 1, which is the sewing allowance, making 7 inches. In this particular illustration, our hip measurements is 44. We divide it by 6, it gives us 7.3, approximately 7.5, and we add 1 inch sewing allowance, making it 8.5 inches. We lay our material folded. We start from the base. That's the waistline. That's the first line we make. Then we introduce the ankle line. Add 1 inch or 2 inch sewing allowance. My ankle line is actually 38. My skirt length is 39. I added 1 inch to make it 40 inches. Then the second line we are going to make is your waist to hip line, which is 9 inches. Then we'll make the third line, your waist to your crotch depth. In this diagram, I'm making use of crotch depth so that during the curve will sit properly. I'm going to draw this pattern like as if I'm making trouser. Then the next line we're going to do is your knee line. Your knee line is in this place we're using 18 inches. Actually, your knee line usually used to be 22 inches, but we are bringing it up so that to allow easy movement, we're bringing it up by 4 inches. Then the next thing we do is go to the hem and make your skirt opening how fully you want it to be. We wanted it to be 22, so we make it 22 at the hem. Then we look for the center, which is 11.5, and we made a center line there. Then from this center line, this is where we are going to be inputting all our figures. Our hip measurement, our waist measurement was 6 when it was 7 when we divided it by, was 6 when we divided it by 36. So we impute it, we make it 7 plus the sewing allowance. We impute 3.5 on each side of the line. Then on the hips, it was 8.5. So we are going to impute 4.25 on each side of the line, on the hip line. Also on the crotch line, we are going to impute 4.65 on the crotch line on each side of the line. Then at the hem line is we are making it 10.5 each, 10.5 in each. Then if backward there on the waistline, on the knee line, what we do is that we're going to use the waist measurement, which is 3.5. That's what we do. Now we are connecting it. I'm so sorry that my material does not accept ink. It does not, the chalk is not showing very well. This particular pattern we're drawing serves as a basic pattern for both the front and the back panel. Now, in a regular 6 pieces panel, it consists of 6 panels. The front has 3, the back has 3. Now, this particular one we are using, it consists of you can use it for both the back and the front with little adjustment. What we are going to use now is that we are going to use this one to make, from this one, we are going to get our basic. We are going to get other side of it. We are going to, from here, we shall be manipulating. But this is just the basic. Okay, from this particular first panel, what we're going to do is that we're going to make it as the front side panels. The front side panel consists of the left and the right. So what we are going to do is that from one part of it, we are going to subtract ½ inch from it at the hip line, which make it the hip line at one part of it is going to be the same thing with the waistline, but in the other side to be budged, as shown in the video. So we make use of this front side panel to cut the back side panels. So what we are going to do is that we're going to trace it out. Make sure you know how to minimize your material. Then, if you have traced it out, at the hip line and at the crotch line, you come out by 0.5 inches. That's you're coming back to what you've basically did before. Then, at that place also, you are going to add additional 0.5 inches to it. That the additional 0.5 inches is the one that you remove from the other side. You use it to balance it. You just know that the back panel is usually bigger than the front panel because of the boot allowance. You understand? So now at that place now, you see that in this side it will be bigger than this now represent the back panel, the back side panel. This is the back side panel that we just traced out. The difference between the back side panel and the front side panel is just at the hip line and the crotch line. You understand? That's where the difference is, and the difference is usually about maybe 1 inch apart. The difference is at the hip line. That is where because the hip is bigger. So we make the boot allowance. That's is bigger because there is a boot allowance. So now that we've gotten both the side panel of the front panel and the back panel, the next thing we shall be doing is go and do the center front panel. The center front panel, what we do here is as simple as tracing the basic panel. Then if we have traced the basic panel, we are going to eliminate the hips. Now in the hip line is going to be the same measurement with the waistline. That means there will not be hip line. So since our waist is 7 inches, our hip now this time around is going to be 7 inches. So it will be straight down to your knee line. Then you cut it out. That now represents your center front panel. For the center back panel, what we are going to do is first is we are going to do this one a bit different. So what we do, because of the zip allowance, the zip allowance in this place, since we are not using the folding methods, this one is going to be straight. First of all, we're going to put all the horizontal lines. After we put a horizontal line, then we'll now make a vertical line at the middle. Then from each side of the vertical line, we are going to draw 2 lines from 1 inch apart. This now represent these 2 lines represent the zipper allowance, the zipper allowance. Then on both sides, what we are going to do now is after you put this allowance, you are going to measure from both sides. You are going to put all your readings from both sides. Okay, the readings that you're going to start with is from your waistline. Your waistline, remember your waist measurement was 7. So what you're going to do is that you're going to impute from that allowance. What you're going to do is to impute 3.5 inches on both sides. After the markings on both sides, you impute 3.5 inches on the waistline. While on the hip line now, you are going to impute 4.25 because it's 8.5 on both sides. While on the knee line, you impute 3.5. That's what you're going to impute on the knee line. While on the hem line, which is your ankle line, what you are going to impute, you are going to impute 10.5 as you imputed in the first one. So after this, you might have done this, you connect all the lines together. But remember that this one is a back boot. Now that the back boot is usually bigger than the front is usually bigger, and this one is the center. So what you are going to do is that on this side on the hip line of this center panel, what you are going to do is that on the hip line, you are going to add additional 0.5 inches. That's about half inch on both sides of the hip line and the hemline. Then join it. That is what you are going to do, so that the boot will be bigger than the rest. Remember that when you're cutting initially, you lost some in the front. So those ones that you lost in the front, by eliminating from that front panel, you are going to add it to the back. That is why you have a bigger boot. So it's still going to be the same measurement. So this is just the fundamental of doing this back panel. So after you must have joined it, the next thing you have to do is to cut it out. When you cut it out, then we now face the next challenge. You know, this is the back boots, which at the knee line, you're going to reduce it by half an inch. Some people reduce it by 1 inch, but because of the person I'm doing it for, what we are going to do is we are going to reduce it by half an inch. So after we got it, you go to the knee line, go in by half an inch. That's only what you're going to reduce there. Go in by half an inch. This one help the boat to sit properly. You go in by half an inch. You can also go in by 1 inch if you like, depending on how deep you want it to be. Then you cut it out. Also on the other side, you cut it out. So completely, this is your back panel. Then you cut the middle, cut it out like this. This is where you are going to put your zip.